Hey everyone, it's Jenna Melanson from Canadian Beats Media. Today I'm joined by Newfoundland's The Once for our Zoomies Stanfest edition. Welcome Geraldine, Phil, and Andrew.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
It's my pleasure. So first off, Geraldine, can you introduce The Once to our listeners?
Hello, everyone. We are the Once. The Once is a band from Newfoundland, Labrador who got together when we were doing theater many, many moons ago. And we've been going strong ever since, having a lot of fun traveling the world and building studios and just existing.
Awesome. Phil, what does it mean to you to perform at Stan Rogers Folk Festival, known for its dedication to celebrating songwriters?
Oh, these are such special festivals, ones that actually really kind of focus on, the core of what it is to get up on a stage and create something. Um, I we got really fond memories of when we first started out of being at Stanfest and having it's very different when you get up on stage when you're first kind of starting out and you have that opportunity to be next to people who've been working on this craft for such a long time. And you think about the artists who've been writing songs for 10, 20, 30 years, songs that but then having that opportunity to see why those songs became what they are, which is the audiences that end up going to Stanfest. There's people there that are sitting in the average crowd that have more of an encyclopedic knowledge about all of this sort of stuff than most of the performers do. And they've got such in-depth love of just music and writing in general that it's a special thing to play in front of an audience who knows what it is you're doing and they're listening and they're engaged
And they care.
and they care. It's really, really special festival.
Okay, Andrew, as part of a festival that honors the legacy of Stan Rogers, how do you incorporate storytelling into your performance?
I
mean, I think the fact is, for songwriters in general, I mean, it really is all about the story. For any song that you're writing, and we're certainly no exception to that. Storytelling is very much at the root of any good song. I think storytelling is at the root of any bad song, for that matter. It's just it just sort of boils down to whether it's a good story or not, I guess. So I think it's really important to us. Certainly, anytime that we're on the road and we're playing live shows together, it's important to us to to set up our own songs a lot of the time, just to help provide a context for those lyrics and kind of where we're coming from. I do also think it's important, like there is something to be said for allowing the listener to sometimes derive their own backstory, and to help kind of whatever way that that they can kind of connect to the song. It's oftentimes something in their own lives that they sort of connect through with a song. But there is something lovely about having the opportunity to provide context sometimes for songs with an audience, like something that they might have thought was, in a totally different direction from what they were initially thinking, to help provide I guess the sort of foundation, for where those songs are actually coming from, and which in its own way can also help inspire the listener.
Definitely. Okay. Um, Gerald, Geraldine, do you have any new projects or upcoming releases that you're working on? And will Stanfest attendees get a preview of any new material?
Well, we just put out a record in February 16th, 2024. So we've only toured Nova Scotia and Ontario at this stage and only for a few weeks. and St. Pierre. So we're bringing all new songs to you. Yeah, it's a new vibe, a new feel, and it's so far it's very well received. And I gotta say, when we're on stage, the connection from audience to us and the back and forth is truly excellent. I love it so much.
Amazing.
Mhm.
Okay, Phil, the festival
Yep.
is kicking off with The Circle Continues, Stanfest celebrates Bruce Guthrie. Do you have a favorite song by Bruce?
I don't.
Can I weigh in on this one?
Yes, you can.
And the next one go to Phil, maybe?
Okay.
I got you, Phil, buddy.
Thanks.
Because in my first year at university, I was taking a first year English course with Don Nichols, and at the time, of Your Son was a fairly new album by Bruce Guthrie, and I was absolutely enamored with that album, and in particular the song "Falling," and which I guess there's a lot like the line. There's a line from "Falling" that ended up sort of being the title track of that album, which I didn't actually even realize at the time. But there was a project in that we were asked to do, and Don, being a music lover, gave us the option if we wanted to, for like our presentation kind of thing, if we wanted to sing a song, like perform a song and talk about that song to the class, we were allowed to do that. So I actually took the opportunity to perform, like to learn and study and perform the song "Falling" by Bruce Guthrie for the class, and it's kind of remained one of my all-time favorites ever since then, which is, that was like 1999. So yeah, that's that song in particular. I mean, there's so many wonderful Bruce Guthrie songs, and even just his voice is enough to completely captivate you. But yeah, I've always been connected to his song "Falling."
Okay, awesome.
Jenna, ask me again. Ask me again, Jenna. Ask me again.
Do you have a favorite song by Bruce Guthrie?
Falling, for sure.
Okay. Good
Great choice, man.
answer.
Great choice.
Okay. Phil, are there any artists on this year's lineup that you're excited to collaborate with or check out?
I don't even know if you looked this up, but I know already. I can tell. Like,
Who do you think I want to collaborate
I
with?
think, well, Tim Baker's there.
Ah,
I think Nico Paolo's there.
oh, brilliant.
Well, if you couldn't get a room with Jim Cuddy, I think any day you have a
Oh
you
yeah,
have a great time.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think so too.
that's what I.
Mhm.
Nico Paolo, Tim Baker, and Jim Cuddy.
Okay. Okay, so the next 5 questions are just for fun, and you
And
can each
Mallory
answer.
Johnson too, I bet you.
Oh,
Mallory
Mallory
Johnson.
Johnson too. I love her.
Okay, yes, definitely. So what was the first festival you attended as a fan? Let's start with Phil.
First festival I attended as a fan. I guess this one sort of counts as a festival, I think, but many years ago, there's this movie called This Is Spinal Tap, and I think a lot of music fans probably know that. And they came out with a fake follow-up record to Smell the Glove, which is the album that the movie is about. And they did 3 concerts across Canada, one in St. John's, one I think in like Barrie, Ontario, and then the other one was in Vancouver, and they did them all on the same day. And because it was such a huge endeavor, they filled out all the lineups with other bands. So looking back now, at the time I was just kind of going to St. John's for my first kind of concert on my own. But now when I look back, it was definitely a festival. And and a bunch of other bands that ended up, blowing up, and kind of like Sloan and all these bands were there in St. John. So I think that honestly would have been my first one, and got exposed to, coming from a small town like Corner Brook and going to a bigger city like St. John's, getting exposed to the relationship between, the big flown in headliner and the local support acts
Mm-hmm.
was a really special thing to watch. Everybody kind of get to do their thing on a big stage, and I guess in their minds to like level up. All right, here's the time to take it out from, the Ship Pub downtown to like, all right, now we're on a full big outdoor stage. And the thing went, all day. So that would have been my first festival experience, would have been Spinal Tap.
Okay.
Amazing.
Andrew?
I don't think I have quite as detailed a response, but the first festival that I can think of would be the Newfoundland Labrador Folk Festival,
Okay.
and I wouldn't even be able to tell you exactly what year. But I think that was probably the first festival that I would have attended just as a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Just someone being just like living in St. John's. Growing up around the bay, but like moving in for university, and so like being able to go to Bannerman Park, kind of on my own volition, and taking in all the wonderful music all weekend long at Bannerman Park there with the folk festival. This would likely be the one.
Awesome. Geraldine?
Mine was the Bjorn Folk Festival out in. I didn't even realize the festivals were like a big thing. I just thought like like you just had a day that was for your town, and then that was your festival, whatever, that was your day. And I remember going up and hanging out, and my sister would play, so I was a fan of her. She would dance, and mom and dad would dance, and then the Ennis sisters would come and sing for. And my sister is still one of her very favorite fans of all time. I think they're actually friends. She made friends out of them. She was such a groupie for so long. And the feeling of being in a crowd with a whole lot of people, sometimes paying attention, sometimes not, but being able to just be. I remember at a very young age being very excited about that, and hearing people do even at, like, I'm from the Burin Peninsula, there's 20,000 people on the whole peninsula. Where I came from, there was 16 houses. But we would hear the songs of Rita McNeil and Ron Hines, and people would cover them, and we knew them all by heart, by rote, and everybody would sing in the audience, people that you just never knew, and less people that you did know. And that was the very first time, and it was because I had a sister and a mom who danced, like penny folk dancers, like Newfoundland set dancing.
Mm-hmm.
It was very cool.
What year was that?
That was 1990, maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking mine was around 1999.
1989, and I remember the year I got to do it, and I sang Rita McNeil song "Flying on Your Own."
Oh, did you?
And I did
Maybe.
I think I did a Rankin Family cover. I can't remember which one. And yeah. Anyway, I'd have to think really hard about that, but I got to be on the stage and sing, so it was really fun. And I remember being very excited about that, and I had no idea that I'd ever be a musician like this at that point. Never. I mean, I thought I'd be a country singer like Dolly Parton or Reba McEntire, but that was a very different thing.
Okay. What's the first thing you do when you arrive at a festival? Andrew?
Help Jared drop off merch.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we going? Where's the stage? Where's
parking?
logistics?
Yeah. Unfortunately, not a super fun reality, I suppose. But yeah, ultimately, that's the first thing we do upon arrival is sort out parking and where all the merch goes, where the gear goes. Yeah, get your lanyards.
Yeah,
Get your
depending
passes.
on where the festival is, the first fun thing I do, depending on the time of year and depending on where it is, I look for corn.
I knew you were going to say that. We're going to get
Yeah,
corn.
Rum Festival is a big thing. The ear of corn is peeled down. It's like a handle. You got your little napkin around it, dipped in butter, garlic, salt, pepper. That's the first thing that I want to do when I get there. First thing I do, like Andrew mentioned, is I look for like prime parking because I'm generally the driver when we go. But then the next thing is corn. Is there corn? And I remember one year way back, maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, there was a big, it was a real great growing season in Ontario, and we were touring a lot of festivals. And the best news I got all summer was that there had been a third yield of corn. There's always two every year. And then they had this magical third yield of corn. So right when I thought it was all over, there was more corn.
Amazing.
I remember that. It was a special year.
Oh, yeah, it was big news.
Yeah, it was a big deal. But yeah, but Phil's totally right. Like after we do get all the, all the business sorted and out of the way for a spell. Yeah, it is really fun to like maybe grab a drink or whatever, and just walk around the site. Like just take in the festival site, get the lay of the land, check out some of the cool like arts and crafts and vendors and all that kind of stuff. Like really just sort of envelop yourself with all the cool things about the festival, and especially what kind of makes that festival unique, from other festivals, right? Like,
Yeah.
get the flavor of where you are,
Okay. What's your go-to snack or meal when performing at a festival?
Corn.
Yeah.
I always look for like Thai or Indian food. My go-to.
Yeah.
It's always good in a van.
Yeah.
It's always good.
Food truck food.
Yeah, food truck.
Yeah, totally. Which and again, it's like it's finding those spots that like are kind of unique and special to that particular festival, right? Like we're not going around looking for the Tim Hortons food truck.
Yeah.
We're looking for something that's really cool. Like that's from a family or a place that's like just a mile down the road kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Okay. If you could create your dream festival lineup, living or dead, who would your top 3 headliners be other than yourself? Geraldine.
ABBA. And that it would be ABBA, not their projection. Johnny Cash, this is the weird festival already. But Johnny Cash has to bring all his friends.
Okay.
As part of his band. Like Willie Nelson has to be there. Chris Christopherson has to be there with him.
Okay.
Waylon Jennings.
So the Highwaymen.
Yeah, the Highwaymen. And everyone else that he knew.
Everyone else that he knew.
Yeah, like June Carter Cash has to go. Maybe her family. Like it's a big group on the stage. And maybe they'd all sing the Stan Rogers song at the end. That'd be cool. And the third, Dolly.
Love to see. Oh, Dolly Light, nice. Yeah. Dolly's a good choice.
Yeah,
I've never had
the nights, a country night, and then a disco night.
country
There
disco.
you go.
Or why not?
Yeah, country disco for having us on the night. Yeah.
Man, you listen to that backbeat on Jolene. That's totally.
I know,
disco.
totally
Works.
Andrew.
I've never had the privilege of seeing Tom Waits live. I would love to be able to see Tom Waits live, because from what I've heard, it's quite the experience. Yeah, that'd be pretty special.
Phil's, what would yours be? Because I feel like this one can happen.
Well, I'm gonna go with something. I'm gonna go a different band because I was gonna go like classic Dead People, but I think I would go with something that feels attainable. And right now, I think I would go with I'm going to go with an all-American folk lineup here because
Okay.
this is the sorts of things that I don't get to see very often.
Mhm.
I am going to say Watch House, the Milk Carton Kids, and Gregory Alan Isaacoff would be my top 3 for like a festival. And I think that that's probably going to happen.
I'm surprised you
Yeah.
didn't say that.
Well, I was going to say Andy Schaaf, but then that would have been my other list would have been
A
Andy
Canadian
Schaaf.
list.
Bahamas.
Oh,
Mhm.
And then the last one is tough, but I think I'd probably, I think Villages.
oh,
Like,
geez.
because I think that would have a bunch of different stuff. And then Villages, because it was Andy Schaaf and Bahamas playing, they'd start out as Villages and they'd finish the night as Mardine.
Yes.
That would be a killer show.
Fun.
What a lineup.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Super
that's my
fun.
Canadian and American folk Canadian rock and roll fest.
Okay. And what was your favorite festival memory, either as a performer or an attendee?
From Stanfest or any fest?
Any fest.
Winnipeg Folk Festival, lying in the grass, watching horseflies eat bugs, listening to Wilco.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Was fantastic.
Yeah, that was good.
Yep. Jeff Tweedy and his 20 guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was just Jeff Tweedy, I think, but yeah, they're all there in my head.
Yeah. All the
Every
dragonflies
creature.
are just zipping around, eating
Yeah.
all the nippers.
Yeah.
Pretty fun.
That was the first time I settled and went, oh, this is our life. This is nice.
I remember getting up. We were at the Blue Mountains Festival there in Australia, and we ended up. Steve Poltz was there at the same festival that year, and we were sort of hanging out, a bunch of us the night before, just singing songs and whatnot. And Steve Poltz was he was on a real Grateful Dead kick at the time. He probably still is, but we were sort of, and this was like super late at night, but we were all sitting around and we sort of were just kind of singing along with him on
Uncle John's band.
Uncle John's band, yeah. And he sort of just jokes like, "Hey, I got the set tomorrow morning. You guys should all just like get up and we'll sing this together." And we were like, "Yeah, sure, man, absolutely." Not entirely taking it seriously, but I remember the next morning at the same time we sort of checked in. The three of us were just like, "Do you think he was serious about that? I don't know, man. It was pretty late, and I don't know. Like, we should probably go over just in case, you know." And we pop over to this big tent where he's singing. And if you've ever had the privilege of and pleasure of seeing Steve Poltz live, it's a really joyful experience. And sure enough, man, he gets kind of to the end of his set, and he sort of calls us all out. He's like, "Yeah, we were singing this song last night together. We're gonna get some of my friends up here now to join me on this." And we get up, and sure enough, man, like we all just kind of fumble our way through Uncle John's band. But again, it was with Pulse. So even though we didn't really know the song, it somehow just seemed to will itself into being and finding its way to the station safely with all passengers still on board. So it was pretty fun.
Okay. And Phil?
Let me see. Favorite festival experience. There was this one summer in Ontario where most of the festivals for the summer were done, but there was still one more festival that we had to go to, that we had the opportunity to go to, and there was a third yield of corn. And we got to eat corn at a festival that we did not expect to get to eat it at. And so we're backstage, and all day I'm thinking, like, I cannot believe we're getting a third yield of corn. And it was one of those festivals where there's a real nice backstage area, and I was like, this is fantastic. We've got a whole little camper here to be able to bring the corn back to. Because sometimes you want to eat it around people, but sometimes you want to be private about it. Um, and
Especially when you're on your 12th one of the day.
yeah. And then, so I came out and I was like, I'm going to go get some corn. And as soon as I walked out of the trailer, Billy Bragg and Gordon Lightfoot were standing directly outside of it.
Totally. Mariposa, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you open the door and walk out and see like those two dudes.
Great.
Yeah. And it was just kind of one of those smacks in the face. Was like, wow, the coolest thing I was going to see today was a third yield of corn. And now I'm just kind of like standing here listening to Billy Bragg and Gordon Lightfoot just chat. Yeah, nice. And I was like kind of and I've always loved Gordon Lightfoot, but I'm a huge Billy Bragg fan. So I was like kind of fanning out over him, and listening to him fan out over Gordon Lightfoot was really fun. Because he just, if you didn't recognize Billy, he just looked like some dude from the audience who got this wonderful opportunity to be able to tell a legend and a hero what he thought of him. I was like, oh, but you're a legend and a hero, and you're headline. It was a really cool thing to just a neat thing about festivals, because normally people like us, I mean, we don't get the kind of access to go around and see these sorts of things, but festivals do give you that. That line between artists is all kind of blurred. Everybody's sort of coming in and out and doing things. And then that line between the audience and the artists is kind of blurred. There's a lot more opportunity for these types of things to happen.
Oh man, totally. Like the first time that we were in Tunner over in Denmark, like being in that beautiful backstage, like that really super cozy kind of backstage setup that they had there, and hanging out with like Tim O'Brien and like just having a laugh and just picking and picking and grinning, I guess, and just again, like with someone that you just have so much and respect and love and admiration for, and you're all just hanging out backstage as, I guess, as equals, or it's supposed to be that way, intended that way, even if you don't really necessarily buy into that, but there you are, and you're all just kind of hanging out, and you're just getting such a beautiful, intimate opportunity, with some of these people that you've looked up to for so long, and even and then like we were staying at the Echo Shoe factory, whatever, that they had like a bunch of rooms in this building, just down the road kind of thing from the festival site, and like having like coffee in the morning with Ringo McDonough and Alec Finn, from the Dan, and you're just like, what is this? What's happening? How is this even possible right now?
Yeah. Wow. Awesome.
Just super wild and random, beautiful experiences that like Phil said, that you're just lucky enough to be able to be a witness to, at some of these festivals.
Yeah, like the last one really quick. We went to a WOMAD festival in Adelaide, Australia, and you look at the poster and you're like, oh my God, Ladysmith Black Mambazo. Graceland is like one of the biggest albums ever. Okay, well, let's go to the festival site on a bus with Ladysmith Black Mambazo. It was just awesome then. Yeah, it was like
so cool.
And so you get a bus ride, and then you kind of like,
and then they're all singing on the bus.
Oh, they're all singing on the bus. It's like, this is exactly what if I could have. Wouldn't it be cool if we got on the bus and they just started singing? It's like, oh my God, they just started. They're just on a bus.
And then the next thing you know, like a couple hours later, you're standing, in the crowd, and you're
with like 20,000 people,
and you're just mind blown, and just like tears of joy, with you and like thousands of others. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. I sort of know that guy now, and that guy, and that guy. I sort of know him.
I shared a bus with that guy.
He's on crutches and sitting down. He told me the story on the bus.
Totally.
Okay, so that's it for Zoomies Stanfest edition. Thank you for joining me, and have a blast at the festival.
Thanks, Jenna. Thanks so much for having us. We're looking forward to it.